Great whickering stallions! This is the Doctor, and you are watching Who Are You? Allons-y!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Who Are You? And today I got somebody really cool. I got Peter New with me here today. How you doing, Peter?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. You know, it's good. I did want to talk to you for a little while there on certain things, but definitely because I did contact you because you, well, I guess it's not recent to you, but about a month or so ago. The doctor from My Little Pony finally kind of got, I know he was kind of voiced here and there, but finally got some really cool lines, man.
Yeah.
Which were voiced by you.
Correct.
So real quick, let's get the Doctor Whoves thing on here. Now, first of all, what I'd like to know from now, you work for Hasbro, I guess, or.
Well, I guess technically in the long run, yeah, that's the chess in the ultimate scheme of things.
Now with the Doctor character, from your knowledge, do they go with calling him Doctor Whoves, or or is that more of a fandom name for him?
I think that's more of a fandom name. I noticed in the credits he was just credited as Doctor.
Yeah.
But I seem to recall while we were, working the show, we all kind of, were talking about him like he was Doctor Whoves.
Okay.
When I was talking to the director ahead of time about the character, and those were the words we were using to say. So is this Doctor Whoves? Yes, this is Doctor Whoves. So.
Oh, that's cool.
But then I think they shy away from that particular pun because I think they feel like it may be a little bit too close to somebody else's copyright, and so I think they're a little bit shy of committing to that excellent fan name. But I think they would get away with it all right.
I think so, man, because like you're saying, I'm assuming you guys have a couple Doctor Who fans over there. Or,
yeah, me included.
Oh, okay. We will get into that in a bit too, there, man. But now I don't know if you know this, but My Little Pony got a mention in last Christmas special of Doctor Who.
That's the only episode I haven't seen yet.
Really?
Yeah.
My Little Pony got a big mention, and a lot of fans were like,
"Well."
Mm-hmm.
I better watch that post haste.
Yeah, you should, man. It was a good episode, by the way. Nick Frost was in it. You know Nick Frost.
Well, okay, that's enough with the spoiling.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, what? Now, this is a question I have for you. All right, so you're into Doctor Who, which is awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, what was your inspiration for the Doctor's voice? Did they tell you, all right, go for David Tennant, go for Tom Baker, go for Colin? Like, what was?
Well, it was sort of a complicated set of things going on with it. I think at this point it's okay if I reveal this, that David Tennant was in town at that time shooting something, and I think they were rather hoping that David Tennant would come on board and do it for them. But it came around to the record date, and they hadn't managed to secure him, or he wasn't interested, or I really don't know what the story was with regard to him. But I was in the episode anyway, and they wanted somebody to come in and do at least a temp voice in case they still managed to secure David Tennant at a later time. And And so I tried my best to do a David Tennant. And because I thought, if it's going to be me or David Tennant, I should try to sound as much like David Tennant as I can, which, having seen the episode, turns out not to be all that close. But there you have it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, of course I've seen it. Which again, cool episode idea. Now
Yeah,
many people out there that don't watch My Little Pony or think it's just for kids. Oddly enough, okay, now I watch this with my daughter, like I was telling you earlier. They throw some weird things in there, okay? Because not too long ago, okay. Now I'm a fan of The Shining. I'm a horror buff, man.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Not too long ago, you guys, I don't recall the episode, but it was this season 5. You guys had like a scene over there with a little boy that looked like little Danny, had the little Apollo shirt on, and he's looking at the doorway, but he didn't have the blood coming out. It was like the ooze or something.
Yeah.
I was really, obviously, taken from a bit of The Shining there, which is cool because, when you're watching this, you notice, it's a show for kids, man. It's cool, man. But it also, they'll just throw something in there here and there, man, on these episodes, man, which is great, man. Like, I guess for the parents to be like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's just a little bit of the animators amusing themselves sometimes as well. I think that there's, I know that the animation directors they like their animators to take improvisation classes, and to get them thinking laterally, to get them thinking inspirationally about how a storyboard can play and how a scene can play. So they're not just taking the face value of what's in the script, but they're honoring the script and adding their own hilariousness and interest to it. So, you got a lot of sci-fi, horror, animation fans animating the show as well. So I think that comes out of that. I think there's a lot of, would it be okay if we did this, or can we try and draw that and sneak it in and see if it works and see if anybody else spots it, or I just think it's probably a whole lot of fun to draw on the show.
It has to be, man, and let them know if they don't know. I mean, people are seeing this, man, and it's cool. Like those little things they throw in there in the background, the Big Lebowski thing, which you guys did, and at it like kids would have no clue what that is. But but as parents, you're looking at it, you're like, oh my God, really? That's freaking awesome! They did that, man.
Yeah.
Again, what was the title of that episode again? Because it slips me.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't have all of the episode.
I'm putting it right here in text somewhere. Okay, this is.
You'll have to do the MLP wiki to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm bad when it comes to some of the some episode titles.
I'm sure somebody watching this is like, it's this one. It's that. Of course it is.
But again, it was a cool episode, and I hope they do something like that again. Not only the Doctor Who's character kind of coming out in the forefront, but other, like my daughter, like they got so excited, like wow, like we finally get to see some of the background ponies up front, and you're putting like the main 6 in the back for a little while, man. The main 6 are awesome, but you know what? It goes to show, hey, once in a while, let some of them guys in the background shine, man, because I don't like you said, like you can't talk about any future episodes. That's understandable. But man, I really hope they do something like that again, and I really hope to see something with Dr. Whoves in it again. And I would love to see him have some kind of TARDIS. I would love to see a TARDIS of some form or another.
I know they tried to make his house look a little TARDIS-esque.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
maybe there's a TARDIS there.
Which kind of reminded me. I don't know. Did you ever see the Doctor Who Peter Cushing films?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of remind. I know these are. I haven't seen those in a while, but that when your character went into his house, it was kind of reminded me of the Peter Cushing Doctor Who. And like you had the gadgets all over the place, floating around and such. But again, man, great job on that.
Thank you.
You're awesome for doing it. And another cool thing really with this. It crosses 2 fandoms, man. So you got Doctor Who fans and you got My Little Pony fans, dude, coming together saying, wow, what a cool character this is. And I know you personally are more in the My Little Pony fandom for playing Big Mac,
For sure.
who doesn't speak that often, but did it first, from what I remember. Now I got my daughter.
It-
My daughter watches this a lot, and
yeah, she'll know.
I noticed they gave you a lot more speaking roles early on.
Well, the very, very first episode he was in, he spoke quite a bit more. And I think that was possibly because they were just nervous that just saying yep and no wouldn't sort of reveal a lot about character. And so they had him actually converse with Applejack in the very first episode he appears in. But then after that, it was some yups and some nopes. And then people liked that joke, and, it sort of became the thing that he said, and people, I think, largely forgot that he said, how do you like them apples and all that other stuff that he said in the first time. But too big for you to handle on your own. There's a whole lot of stuff he said. But then I think as time has gone on, I think they've decided that they're interested in having him do more, say more, and so. It's been fun. There have been some episodes that have been challenging. I know the Hearts and Hooves Day was a challenging episode to perform for him because he had to say a lot, and what he had to say was very silly. And that, whenever you have an episode like that where you have to have the character speak, but he has to speak in a way which is, opposite to his base nature, it can be really challenging. It was a lot of fun to do, and I've been very lucky in that anytime I've had to do those kinds of things so far, I've had really positive fan responses. And
Yeah, definitely. Well, I could see it online, dude. I could definitely see it online. And the funny thing is, I don't know if it was, I think right now My Little Pony's on break, or they're mid-season right now or something like that's going on.
Yeah, I think they're taking a mid-season hiatus. I think largely because they, kids are out playing in the summertime.
That's true too. Now, I noticed, I think it was the last episode that was just on a couple weeks back with the Nightmare Moon Dream thing, where it showed, where it showed your character, Big Mac, having a dream.
Yes, he became a princess in his dreams. I think largely because princesses are the most powerful beings in the world of Equestria, and he needed to be powerful. So why not be a princess?
That was funny, man. It was not
great.
only funny, but that was really unexpected. It just came out of nowhere. It's like, wow.
I know. Basically, the reaction that the fandom had to that when they saw it was exactly the same reaction I had when I saw that script and went, "No, what?" I was so thrilled.
It was, man.
And then I have to sit on that. I have to sit on that for like a year, before it comes out. I know this is coming, right?
Wow, is that how long in advance you have what you're gonna do?
Yeah, sometimes that long. Sometimes
wow.
6 months would be the fastest, I think, and then mostly around 8 months to a year.
No, I know you do. Like when you physically go, because you don't voice work from your house, right? You have to go.
Yeah, you go to the studio and you do it with everybody else. Yeah.
So when you go to a studio, is this like, are you doing a bunch of episodes at once, or do they call you in?
One at a time.
One at a time. So are you because I was curious about to ask you this. Do they actually have you come in and just say yep once in a while?
Yep.
So they don't even keep like an extra yep or have you do a bunch of yeps just to have backlogs of yeps. They just have you come right in fresh.
Every yep that they that I've done, they've got. But it's either sit there and go through the library of yups that I've now created and try to figure out which one is the right one, or it's get me to come in and do a few takes and give them one that's the right one. And they would have to pay me either way because that's the way it works. It's the way it contracts.
That's
so
true.
If they're going to pay me either way, they might as well have me come in and actually give them one that is appropriate to the moment.
Now, would
I don't mind going to do that. That's not a bad job.
I can't blame you. I'll go say yups, man. Go right ahead and ask me. Now, how did you get involved in all this, man? I do know you did some acting work also, but the whole idea of voice acting, because some people will say, well, anybody can do voice acting, but I don't believe that, dude. I believe you gotta have some characters in you, right? I mean, is that how it works?
It in a way, yeah, but in a way, no. I mean, I don't think you ever sort of go to. It's very, very rare, I think, that you go to an audition with like a preset character that you have developed for yourself, and say, oh, well, what would be great for this character that you guys have developed is this character that I have developed. It's very rare that those things are so deeply in sync that one would get the job done for the other. Usually, they've created a character that they're interested in having represented, and you have to take some of the information that they give you and create a character with your voice out of their information, bringing with you whatever it is that you have in you that makes that character come alive. But it is about kind of, you do need to infuse whatever they have written with character in some way. But then you get into all sorts of the complications of what is character anyway, and I really do sort of subscribe to the notion that character is kind of an invisible thing. Character is actually, I think, largely created in the mind of the audience as opposed to the mind of the actor or the mind of the writer. The writer might say, well, I want the character to be this way or that way or the other way, and the actor might say, I want the character to look like or sound like this or that or the other thing. But what you're really playing with in terms of character are the ideas of what does the character want, what is the character hiding, what does the character need to learn, what is the character fighting for. And these are all sort of questions that exist sort of in the spaces between the lines. And the audience will fill that in with what they imagine. It's interesting with Big Macintosh, for instance, because I think Big Macintosh has got a really rich inner life. I think he's not a dumb character at all.
Right.
I think he just doesn't see the need to talk a whole lot. But it's interesting because I'll run into a number of people that think that way too, and a number of people that think he's just an idiot.
Oh, okay.
And I'm fascinated by, because he has so few lines to fill space. There's a lot of space to fill between his lines. And it's really interesting to me to see some people assume one thing about the character and other people assume the opposite thing about the character. And so he's a really different character, therefore, to a lot of different people. And so I can only bring what I can bring, and he gets to be what he needs to be for whoever is watching him at any given moment.
That's true. Now, well, yeah,
but that's acting all over the place, right? Like that's how it works. Is you can't do the job of the audience actually does need to do a job in watching media. The audience is actually filling in spaces with their own emotional life.
Yeah,
and that's a kind of beautiful and marvelous thing.
It is, man, because everybody has their own opinion, man.
Right.
Which is cool.
And I think one of the reasons why shows like Doctor Who and shows like My Little Pony are as successful as they are is because they give the audience a lot of leeway. Both of those shows give the audiences a lot of leeway to fill those spaces with their own emotional life. They give you just enough to engage with the characters, but then the audiences really do engage emotionally with the characters on both of those shows. And so they do a great job in the writing on both of those shows to allow that to happen, whether that's conscious or not.
It is cool though, man. It is cool, and that's why you have fandoms for these shows. Even like Star Trek, man. Like you have these fandoms for these
yeah, for sure.
These great shows, man. But that being said, out of curiosity, would you ever be like? How does it? If you go to the writers, are you one able to say, hey, I suggest this or that, or you don't bother with any of that, really?
This is the thing that the way the show is produced is, we do the voice recordings here in Vancouver in Canada. The show is written in LA largely, and most of the time that's, a lot of the animation that we record here in Vancouver is done like that, where it's written in one place and recorded in the other. And for the most part, you never get a chance to meet the writers and the creators because they're on the phone, if they're there at all. And most of the writers usually are just a name on the front of the page, and you often forget it as soon as you've read it, because it's just not, you don't connect with the person because you're busy doing your work. But something that My Little Pony has given us is because of the conventions that we've been able to go to, and because of the fan reaction, we've been able to meet these people and spend time with them and hang out with each other. And the writers have been able to learn about us and what we're capable of and what we're interested in performing. And we've been able to learn about them and get to know them. And, you know, and so that conversation about, you know, what I can do as a performer and what I would be interested in doing as a performer, and what I would be interested in seeing in a script, that kind of back and forth has developed a little bit because we have connected, and we become friends, you know, and so that's a really lovely relationship, but a really unique one. Like you don't get that on most shows.
That is cool.
So yeah, it's been super great, and that's all because of the fans. I remember being in Cleveland, Ohio, for a convention. It was one of the, I guess it was maybe the second time I'd ever met Megan McCarthy.
Okay.
But we were talking in Cleveland, you know, about whether or not Big Mac should sing ever. You know, and they were like, yeah, we don't really know if we could do you think you could do it? And I was like, are you kidding? I would love to. So I think, you know, from that kind of conversation, we were able to move the character into new and interesting places. And we did get him to sing. And that, I don't know how much is my influence and how much they were already just going to do it. But it was nice to have that conversation, to be able to reinforce the idea and say, well, the actor wants it. The actor is capable of it. And for me to say, well, you know, I'm excited about the idea of this and I would be thrilled. And I think that's a sort of positive feedback loop that sort of helps to create the thing.
That is pretty cool, man. Now, speaking of conventions, I did check out the documentary that I think John Delancey and a couple of you guys put together, right? Now, with
I was just interviewed for it, but yeah.
Now with that, because the whole John Delancey story on this is kind of cool. It's kind of funny and cool, where he was
super cool, yeah.
You know, where he's like thinking he's just tired of doing some voice work for a kid show, not expecting anything, and then he started getting flooded with emails from grown men. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it hit him like, what the heck is this? I did not expect this. And he looked into like, how cool was that of him? Now with you, now I know you've done some other cartoons and all, but when did you what were you feeling like all of a sudden when you noticed like, holy moly, holy crap, you know, adults are really digging this show?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing, really. I mean, I went to do this audition and I got the job, and you do the job and then you go home and they tell you, yeah, this character might recur. And I've heard that before 100 times, and most of the time the character doesn't recur. And, you know, so I just sort of shrugged it off and thought, yeah, well, so much for that. And then he did come back, and that was great. And then he came back again, and that was great. And then the show goes on the air, and I thought, all right, well, it's on the air. I guess all those little girls will be happy. And then one night, my internet exploded with a bunch of grown men. I thought, what the hell is going on? You know, I was not schooled in the vernacular of the brony at the time, so I really didn't know what was happening. And people were asking me, they were asking me trolley questions like, hey, Peter, do you clop? And me not knowing what that meant. Decided to Google it. So I went into my first convention feeling quite leery about it, because I really didn't know what to expect in the hallways of BronyCon 2012. And that brings me back to John Delancey, because he was there, and I by just chance happened to have breakfast with him.
Wow.
And because we were in the same hotel and whatnot. And as we sort of gathered to be walked over to the convention, he sort of, we were standing there waiting around, and he had all his stuff with him, and he was getting impatient. And he said, well, what are we waiting for here? What are we waiting on right now? And they said, we're just waiting for like 2 or 3 more people to arrive at this group, and then we're all going to walk over together to keep you safe from the hordes of fans. And he said, I've done enough of these things. I'm just going to go over there right now. Off he went. I'm really glad that I was there to witness that, because it made me realize that, you know, John Delancey can go ahead and walk through a crowd full of adoring fans, and certainly he's got more adoring fans than I do. That there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do that too. And so it really, like, in an instant, it taught me that regardless of what I might expect in that hall, that I could handle it. And then I went in there and everybody was lovely, and I'm really glad that I was right there in the midst of everybody to shake hands and bro hoof and talk and get to know people. Because the alternative would have been to have been shielded from the fandom. And I think had I made the choice to let myself be shielded from the fandom, I don't know that I would have done as many cons. I don't think I would be as willing to do these kinds of interviews. I don't think,
Right.
you know, I think I would have been a really different kind of character on the fandom scene. And so I have him to thank for that, because just that confidence to commune with people and to treat people like people. I thought, yeah, all right, I could do that too.
That was pretty awesome, man. That's just an awesome documentary just to
Oh
watch.
yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
I would even recommend that to people that don't even really watch My Little Pony, man. It's just
I think that's kind of who it was. That's more who it was made for, I think, as opposed to the people that watch it and already know what a brony is and know everything going on. I really do think it's for people who are like, bronies, really? What the? That's pervy and strange, and I'm afraid. I think it's for those people, right?
You do, of course, with all the love for My Little Pony. There's a lot of hate, man, that I see personally.
It's remarkable,
which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous, man. I understand. Hey, man, you love what you love, man. You love watching My Little Pony. You love watching the Smurfs, whatever, man. I can't believe how much like bullying and bashing that you do catch online.
Well,
people.
It speaks to me of homophobia, really, more than anything else. Brony hate. Not that bronies are particularly homosexual more than any other group. They're not, but I think that most brony hate comes out of this notion that it's a little girls' show, and so therefore bronies must be perverse or I think gay.
Right.
And again, like, I think that's sort of not true, but not true either. But I think the hate movement for bronies really comes out of that, and I think that's really revealing that that kind of anti-gay vitriol is still so much alive that it gives them a shield to be homophobic behind. They get to say, I hate bronies instead of I hate gays. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that makes it somehow a little bit more acceptable for them to have that position in their minds, because I don't think it's an acceptable position whatsoever.
No, the thing I understand, one of your buddies giving you a giggle, hey, you watch My Little Pony, well, give it a watch, man. You might like it, but
sure.
But when it gets to the, am I frozen?
No, we're back now.
Okay, but when it gets to the, you see things, it's like hardcore hate.
It is
like bloodthirsty, like really.
Yeah, and again, I really do think it can't possibly be about bronies themselves. I think it's about something else, because you don't get that kind of hate for Star Wars fans or Star Trek fans or Doctor Who fans, or there's no other fan group that has to deal with that kind of venom, and so it just leads me to believe that it's about something else. I think it's about something else, and I think it's about this sort of latent. Well, not latent, but I think it's about. I think a lot of people have sort of come to realize that the LGBT movement is really been making a lot of strides lately, and that's great. And so I think what that does for those who are against it, I think it sort of holds them down and makes them feel like they're not allowed to voice their opinion anymore, or their opinion is unpopular somehow. And so I think they look for other outlets. But again, I think it's, it's just as misled as it ever was.
Yeah,
You know,
I completely agree, man.
people, I mean, what it is people trying to make themselves feel powerful by putting other people down. And that's what that kind of position is only ever about. It's only ever about, well, how come you're allowed to do something that seems fun and I'm not?
There you go.
Well, so do something that's fun instead of being a twit.
Yeah, if you don't like something, I say, you know what I say to everybody, if you don't like something, that's cool. Go on,
Yeah.
find something you like. You don't have to
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Go find something you like.
Yeah.
And these guys will say, well, I like to bash other people. Well, then
Yeah.
you're a Neanderthal and you need to evolve.
Exactly. I completely agree, Peter. Now let's move on to something a little more positive. All right.
That's positive, I think, in its way.
Yeah.
Surprising that we went there, but all right.
We went there. But I want to talk a little bit about, you said earlier that you dig Doctor Who, man.
I really do, yeah.
So that's awesome. So out of curiosity, like I asked all my buddies, where did that love of Doctor Who begin with you, man?
It began when I was a child in the 70s. I remember my dad was on a sabbatical teaching at the University of Wellington in New Zealand. And Doctor Who was one of the only shows on there. And I remember watching it there. I was a little bit young to really appreciate it at that time. But, the family watched it. It was one of the few things that aired. And then when I was a bit older in high school, I remember Saturday nights, they would run an entire series of Doctor Who, because the series at those times were, 6 episodes. They'd be, whatever, 4.5 hours long or something. And they'd start them at midnight and just run them on Saturday nights. And we used to sit there and have a couple of underage drinks. And not that I condone that at all. What a horrible mistake we were making.
Horrible.
It was just horrible. We used to sit there and and watch these things beginning to end, and we'd laugh at the cheesy special effects, but ultimately we enjoyed sitting there and watching these things through beginning to end. And so when they brought it back, originally it was a BBC CBC co-pro in the early days. CBC being the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and BBC being the British one. So it was a Canadian-British co-production. So there was a lot of buzz about it here in Canada, and I was quite excited to watch it. And excited because, of course, it was a thing from my childhood that I was interested to see how they updated it. And I knew Christopher Eccleston's work, and I was very excited to see him as the Doctor. I thought he made a really great Doctor. And I think it's unfortunate that he has a principle about the fandom or something that I don't quite understand, but he decided he didn't want to be a part of it anymore. And I think that's too bad, because I think his Doctor was really, I think in the scheme of things, is one of the best potential Doctors out there. But I feel like he didn't stick around long enough for the character to really realize. I also don't think he enjoyed being a clown. And I think the Doctor does need to be a bit of a clown too, which is ultimately why, Tennant was really refreshing after Eccleston, because he was very much a clown. And that performance is lovely. But in the end, so far, I think Matt Smith turned out to be my favorite.
Oh. Because I think he has a little bit more gravitas than Tennant does. So he can handle a bit more of that I'm alone in the universe, everything I touch turns to dust, and you will all be gone long after, and I will still be here. All of the dark stuff, as well as the clown stuff, which he's also excellent at. He was better at sort of balancing those two things than either of the two guys that came before. And I'm interested now to see what happens in the next couple of seasons, because I think Capaldi brings back a lot more of that sort of Eccleston seriousness. But is there going to be more clown? Because there does need to be a balance. He is a clown as well. That's true.
As a character.
That's true.
So
He's a
I'm
mix of
interested.
things. Yeah, he's a mix.
He really is.
You know.
He really is.
And what
So
a great,
I'm very interested to see what happens now.
like always, what a great role that is to be the Doctor. Oh, because
Oh, well,
it can be
you know, I
anybody.
mean,
It can be anybody, man.
people used to ask me, you know, one of the questions I get a lot at conventions is, you know, it's a question that is really difficult to answer ultimately for me, but, you know, what character is there that you don't play, that you've never played, that you would love an opportunity to play? And I used to say, well, the Doctor. I'd love to be the Doctor on Doctor Who. But I'm, you know, A, not British, and B, maybe not established enough in the film and television world. So there's a lot stacked against me. And so when the opportunity came along to be the Doctor on Pony, I was like, yes, please.
How cool is
it
that?
may be the closest I will ever come. So
To put hey man, you know what? My opinion, you're officially one of the Doctors, man.
oh, thank you. Well,
Like seriously, man.
that's really awesome.
Really, I mean, this has been, you know, yeah, it's a cartoon. You know, you're not, you know, you guys aren't connected with the BBC or anything like that, but it's Doctor Whoves. This character's been growing for a couple years, where you'd be seeing pictures of him because they always kept him in the background. He wouldn't say much
Yep.
or nothing. Sometimes he's with his little companion, which is, I guess, is Rose. Man, she has a rose on her bum, right? I mean,
Yeah. And again, I think that, you know, that just came out of like the animators trying to be fun, you know, like, ooh, I'm a Doctor Who fan. Let me draw Rose and see if it gets past the lawyers.
I'm curious now, like if the Doctor Who's returns, either I assume they can just go with the Doctor. It's fine either way. That's what they call him on the actual Doctor Who show.
Well, that's what I thought was funny about them being, you know, not willing to call him Doctor Whoves on Pony, is that the character's name on the real show is just the Doctor.
It's the Doctor, man.
Is what they went for. So
I'm curious if they'll ever do a regeneration. Wouldn't that be?
Well, technically, I sort of feel like they already have, because I voiced him in the 100th episode, but Brian Drummond voiced him before.
Okay.
When he just had one or two lines, I think, in an earlier season, and it was a different actor.
So similar to Colin Baker, that did not get his regeneration scene yet.
Yeah.
You know, well, I got my buddies are big on the audios. Apparently, Colin Baker, well, he is doing the audio. What happened to the Sixth Doctor and what caused him to regenerate? We're finally going to know, I think, next month, which is cool. I'm excited for that.
I didn't know that.
Would love to see Doctor Who's in the Sixth Doctor's outfit, man. That colorful coat and all, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Curly hair, but that's cool, man. All right, so we got your fandom of Doctor Who out of the way, man, which is cool, man. A fellow Doctor Who fan, a Whovian. Yeah. Now, what are some future projects that you can, you know, let us know what you're working on, man?
Well, the thing that I think I'm most excited about right now that I'm allowed to talk about is there are a couple things out there that I can't, but I'm very excited to be a part of the new Electra Woman and Dyna Girl show coming out sometime, I think later this year, starring Grace Helbig and Hannah Hart. And I play a superhero sidekick.
Are you kidding me?
Which is I'm super excited. Nope.
Is this Sid and Marty Krofft?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know. Wow, man. All right, Sigmund the Sea Monster fan here, HR Pup and stuff. Wow,
nice.
When I was a kid.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, man, do me a favor. You talking to anybody? Please, God, but Sigmund the Sea Monster, man, put the guy on DVD for us to watch, man.
I will pass that on.
Man, that's cool. All right, great. Well, I know Sid and Marty Krofft, they're still around. I know. People realize that these guys are still ticking,
still making
man.
shows.
You know,
still sitting at the head of the table and you know, during the cast read and everything. You know, so.
Can you say what villain you're going to play or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I'm allowed to say well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name or not, actually. Even he's a sidekick to a superhero, so he's a good guy.
Wow.
So I can't wait to. They haven't released any images of the character yet, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say. But,
Already filmed?
yeah, we already shot it. We shot it in March, I think. Yeah,
Well, hold on.
lots of fun. They just released a trailer, so you can look that up online. I don't know if you can find a link and put it on the screen here.
Well, he excited me with a Sid and Marty Krofft show coming back. Land of the Lost, another one.
Yeah,
Now when are we looking forward to seeing this?
it's gonna be. They shot it as like 10-minute episodes that they're going to release online, but could also easily be strung together as a feature film. So I'm not exactly sure what their plans for distribution are just yet. I know when we shot it, they were planning to just release it straight to the internet so that for all to see. But I don't know. I know the trailer premiered at Comic-Con, I think, and so they're gearing up. I don't know when the actual date is, but
That's awesome. That's good news. Glad to hear that, man.
yeah. But I'm very excited. It was a lot of fun. I thought my character was great fun to perform, and hopefully he makes the cut. That's all you can only ever cross your fingers about.
Hey, man, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Now, anything else that you can say, or maybe you can't say, but you could tell us, hey, look out for this at this date or something,
I don't have any dates I can even tell you. I know there's a new cartoon show that I'm on. That's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, beyond that, I mean, there's one or two other things that I really am not allowed to say a darn thing about. So keep your eyes on my Twitter at Actor Peter New, and I'll be posting it as soon as I'm allowed to post it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Now I know you have done some acting work on some television shows here and there.
Yeah.
And I did catch you in was it Arrow or Flash or Arrow versus Flash?
It was Flash, but it was the episode with Arrow, the first episode with Arrow. I was in the shadow there. I had this nice little part that ended up this is what I mean by I hope I make the cut. I had this nice little part, and it ended up just being me in the shadow shivering at the point of an arrow.
Now, what are some shows that you've been in that you really enjoyed, man? I mean,
I enjoyed my tiny little turn in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus because I got to work with Terry Gilliam, and that was a dream come true for me. And I enjoyed my little turn on Psych. I enjoyed. I keep thinking of things that I hit the cutting room floor on for some reason. I did an episode of Dark Angel, but I never got to be on screen.
Oh, wow.
I did an episode of Supernatural. I think I got cut from as well. This happened. I was excited to be on. I enjoyed being on Dead Like Me. I liked that show a lot. And like most of these things, I get a day or two on, and it ends up being just a shot or two of me. But
are you one of them guys that gets weird watching yourself? Or are you like, hey, cool, that's me?
No, I actually like watching myself, if only because I like to try to figure out what worked about. What worked about my performance and what didn't work about my performance. I quite like to. I think that as an artist, you need to be able to. You need to be able to look at the art you're producing and study how to improve or figure out where you want to move your art, how you want to push it.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can really know that unless you see what editors and producers are doing with you. So you have to be able to watch it. But I come out of this live theater tradition, where I was doing a lot of comedy for a lot of years, and there was really only one rule. And if you wrote a thing and then you performed your thing in front of an audience, and if they laughed, it worked, and if they didn't laugh, it didn't work. And you need to either abandon that bit or figure out, is the reason they didn't laugh because I performed it wrong, or is it because it was written? Both of which are down to me.
Okay.
So how do you adjust it or abandon it? And again, I just feel like you need to carry that through in whatever you're doing as an artist. Adjust it or abandon it. How do you do that if you don't look at it?
There you go. Okay, man, you ready for this, Peter? I'm going to ask you a couple one-off questions here.
Okay, lightning round.
Now, when you're eating your fast food, do you prefer a Whopper or a Big Mac?
Whopper.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like Big Macs.
Okay, I won't say nothing.
I don't love
then.
Whoppers either, frankly. Given the choice.
I won't say nothing on that. What's your favorite television show right now? What are you watching? What are you fanning about?
I'm working my way through BoJack Horseman right now, which is a lot of fun. But I just started watching Mike Tyson Mysteries the other night. I think it's so ridiculous. I'm really getting off on it. And then in terms of live action stuff, I'm sort of between televisions at the moment, to be honest. So I don't know. I haven't really watched a lot of TV.
No.
I guess if I got a TV and started watching something right now, I'd be catching up on my Game of Thrones because I'm only 2 seasons into it, but I was really enjoying it.
That's another one, man. Yeah, that's another big one.
Me and everyone else.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right, shoot me a couple movies that really inspire you that you love, man. Even growing up, there's some that just pop in your head.
The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, Brazil, and Time Bandits.
Time Bandits, man. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, when you do get time off, what's your favorite thing to do to chill out, man? What's the you thing to do?
I'm pretty quiet when it's just me and chilling out. I like to sort of sit on my patio, and sometimes I noodle on my guitar, and I drink coffee, and I write down ideas for my own shows that I might like to make one day. So I don't know. It's sort of it's hard for me to say what's the break. Where do I stop working and where do I start relaxing? Because I find both.
You're always thinking.
I find it relaxing to work.
Oh, there you go, man. Hey, if it makes you chill, Now, speaking of music, what kind of music you into? Who are some bands you like?
Oh, right now I'm into Mother Mother. Probably my favorite band is a Canadian band that even no one in Canada has even really ever heard of, called Rio Statics. I think they're just phenomenal. I'm still a really big fan of They Might Be Giants.
Oh wow, man! Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. I think they're kind of brilliant. What am I liking out of? I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Yes, that's the answer for now.
Simple enough, man. Well, Peter, I'll open the floor to you if you want to say anything out there to the fans that are watching this that love your work, on My Little Pony and other things that you've done. Want to give a shout out?
Well, I'm always amazed that there are fans, that there's anybody out there that is remotely interested in listening to what I have to say. So thank you to you guys just for being there and for paying attention. And I'm working in a vacuum without you guys, so I really appreciate that you guys are around. And I don't know, I guess I hope one day I get to meet every single one of you.
There you go,
That's
man.
it.
Well said, man. Well said. Again, Peter, thanks for joining us here, man. It was great.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great chit-chatting with you, man. All
Absolutely.
right.
Good chat with you too.
Hey, man. Hey, man, we'll do this again, man, when you got some other projects going on. You want to, hey, man, I'm always available for a chat.
Sweet. I'll let you know when I have to promote some stuff.
Awesome, man. All right. Until next time, everyone. There you go. Keep on hooing, everyone.